whole reason why I went initially to a heat pump was because on the information you hear that it's going to save you energy and therefore be cost effective. What I found in my instance is that it's no good having a heat pump without having the other two elements of basically solar panels and insulation. Our energy bills spiked massively from what they were before. We were spending about £1,700 a year on oil and electric, of which about £50 a month of that was electric. Once we converted to the heat pumps, our energy bill then increased massively because we were then paying about £250 a month on electric. We looked at other ways to reduce our costs, and the main thing that has come up is that there's not enough insulation in the loft area, even though we're told that if you insulate you will save money, which is true, but you need to insulate to the right depth.
Most people think when they're doing loft boarding, they're screwing the boards down to the joists. That's how it always used to be. Or maybe they're raising it up with a little bit of timber. It's called cross-battening, but basically using timber to raise it up. And again, that used to be the way that everyone did things. But those things are no longer recommended and actually no longer allowed in new build houses, because if you're screwing straight to the joist, you haven't got enough insulation. And if you're using timber to raise it up, timber acts as a conductor and it conducts the heat out, bypassing your insulation to some degree.
Okay, so what I'm doing is just checking how much heat is being transmitted from the ceiling below and the main house up into the loft. And you can see from the heat camera that quite a bit of heat is being lost through this area due to the fact that there's not enough insulation. The worry was that if you compress insulation and store stuff, which most people have lots of stuff up in the loft, and consequently that insulation is being reduced by about 50%.
So LoftZone StoreFloor is basically the pioneer of the raised loft boarding industry, which means it provides storage and safe access in the loft when the loft has been properly insulated. So a lot of people, and most people have their loft a little bit insulated these days, but often they think it's just a little bit, maybe like 4 inches between the joists. But actually, building regulations today insist it's at least 3 times that amount, so about 11 inches minimum, right up to like some new build houses, double that.
So the intention is to put the LoftZone system in, put the insulation down, and then recheck how much heat is being lost through the loft. Got my LoftZone kit. I'm going to start installing this, and these are the legs that I'll be using to screw onto the joists, and then we'll strengthen it all up with the steel rails and the timber boards afterwards, which you'll see once we've installed a few. So this is the LoftZone system. The legs are sitting at 280 above the joist, and the idea of this is that you have your 100 mil of insulation between the joists, and then you can then have 200 mil of insulation from the joist level up to below the new support system for the boarding that will go on here, and then that will give me insulation that won't get compressed and therefore won't lose its insulation qualities.
So the point of StoreFloor, as well as providing storage at home, is to protect your insulation, right? So you want to have the loft insulation protected, and when it's protected, it doesn't get squashed, it doesn't get damaged by debris or whatever falling on it, it doesn't get moved around, maybe if someone needs to get to a certain part of the loft. So it works properly. So in an average home, 25% of your heating bill, your carbon emissions, go straight out through the roof if it's uninsulated. And if your loft insulation is missing or damaged or compressed by being squashed by possessions, obviously you're going to be losing more heat that way. So LoftZone increases your home's energy efficiency by allowing the insulation to work the way it's meant to.
Well, that's it done. Insulation down, LoftZone boarding down, all ready to put my old suitcases and the doll's house and stuff back on. I've just put the heat camera on, and obviously the amount of heat penetrating through from the ceiling below is quite considerably less. Obviously the insulation has been upgraded, which is the big plus here, and the fact that the boarding on top is stopping the compression of that insulation and therefore allowing the insulation to do its job. This is firm, solid, supportive, and it's just the ease of which getting about is massively different.